dominated. But for every first place, there has to be someone towards the back of the field. The Welsh pair of Keith Walters and Alan Thomas are part of that crowd. They've spent thousands to race in the TT.
Sidecar racing doesn't attract an awful lot of sponsorship, at least not at this sort of level, because there isn't a product there to sell for the public. It's the most family-orientated part of this sport, and every team seems to help out every other team one way or another.
Their passion for the racing far outweighs the costs and danger involved.
I think really it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. When I was in school, I used to have Norton, Triumph and BSA written on my satchel when everybody else had the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. And I think it's all I've ever wanted to do, really.
So, whilst the winners spray champagne around, spare a thought for those who finish further back. Many of them are just happy to have taken part.
This is how Steve Hislop's family say he would want to be remembered, a superbike champion. But all too clear in their minds of the memories of the helicopter crash that killed him. Now they can rest easy that it was a tragic accident. On the 30th of July 2003, the helicopter Steve Hislop was flying plummeted 2,500 feet and crashed here at Carlin Rig. You can still see the scars on the hillside behind me. The fatal accident inquiry ruled the aircraft had got into trouble when it rose suddenly to avoid the hills in cloudy conditions. The memorial here on this site was built by friends of Steve Hislop, or Hizzy as he was known. His family and friends have had to wait 5 years for the decision that has cleared him of any wrongdoing. I spoke to his mother at her home today. She never had any doubts.
I was so meticulous. I mean, he rode bikes for 20 years and he was very, very meticulous in his bikes and what he done. Even when he was a small boy, he was like that. And I knew when he took up flying, he would treat it the same way, with safety always first.
Do you think this can bring you and your family closure now?
Well, I have my own ideas about what happened that day, but I'll accept what has been said by the professionals and I can put a closure on it.
As the TT races roar on in the Isle of Man, the memory of Steve Hislop lives on. He moved there with his family and is fondly remembered by motorcycling colleagues.
He came to live here, made the Isle of Man his base, and was obviously a TT hero with 11 TT victories over here, and got himself out in the community, got involved in the community, and people loved him.
Steve Hislop was the reigning British superbike champion when he died. He'll always be remembered as a successful sportsman, a family man, but this tribute shows how special he was to the people here in the Borders where he was born and brought up. Jennifer Humphreys in Hawick for Look Around.
Well, would you believe it? Despite torrential rain this morning, a bit of a downpour this afternoon, the sunshine is out again here on the beach in Laxey. It is a bit cold though. But despite that, I've had a lovely day here at the Laxey Bike Show, where thousands of fans have been entertained by some vintage bikes. When some of these bikes were built, my granddad was still in short trousers, but they're still going strong.
Got to accentuate positive limb.
These bikes really are the pride and joy of their owners. Many spend years doing them up at a cost of thousands of pounds. For most, this is an obsession.
It's just a bug, it's like a drug, you just can't. You see a nice bike and you've got to buy it, or it's just a drug.
I bought it when it was 3 years old. It cost me £300 then, and I just spent probably more than 10 times that restoring it.
The engines weren't the only thing making lots of noise.
When I got the job as a town crier, they said to me that you need 4 qualities. You've got to be brave, intelligent, good-looking and very modest.
This is the second year the event's been held.
Obviously last year was the centenary year, And, you know, you think that it might be a bit quieter second time around, but I think it's been even better this year than it was last year.
And it wasn't just bikes on display. What better way to enjoy your afternoon than strapping yourself to the top of a plane whilst it does a loop-the-loop?
Excellent. They've really gone to a lot of trouble on the aircraft and everything else. It's been a really good afternoon. Enjoyed it.
But for some, the excitement was just all a bit too much. So plenty to keep the crowds entertained. There wasn't any racing today, of course. The final race of this, the 101st year of the TT, is tomorrow. That's the big event. The other big event going on tomorrow is the Friday Feeling. Will be coming live from the Isle of Man. We'll be in the Colonnade in Douglas next to Villa Marina. Do come down and say hello if you're going to be there. That's the Friday Feeling on Look Around tomorrow.
And meanwhile, another motorcyclist being killed in a three-bike pile-up on the island's TT course. The collision at Halewoods Rise yesterday afternoon left another rider seriously injured. Roads remain closed until around 8 o'clock this morning. And the penultimate race of the 2008 Isle of Man TT is underway. Thousands of people are lining the mountain track to see who will win the senior race this afternoon. John Beaver was there before the riders set off.
Well, the sun is shining for this, the final day of the 2008 TT. This is the big race the riders are getting ready for behind me. These are the biggest bikes doing the most amount of laps. Now, for the thousands of people who come to the Isle of Man from across the world, these guys really are heroes. So everyone doing their utmost to win today.